Help us and guide us with whether with the community level, state level, national level, Father, we get passionate to leaders. God, be with individuals, Father. Pray God that there's a lot of people that are just scared, that need you, that need your comfort. God, I just pray that you be with our leaders here tonight. I pray God that you be with people tonight, God, that you just be with them and know that, Father, everything is done today, Father, and nothing is out of malice, and nothing, no one wants to hurt anybody, God. You know our hearts and you know our desires, so we pray, God, that you through hearts of understanding, Father, that God would be not just us to them to understand and know, God, that we don't have the answers and we don't have the solutions. We're just little men and women that can do the best job that we can, Father God. And I just pray your son, and victory on the cross, God, and Christ, amen. Amen.
We can turn over our program to our superintendent, Mr. Bo Matthews, for his comments.
Thank you, Vice Chair Groves. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us. We have several items to attend to this evening. The first thing that I'd like to do is ask Tommy Dunn to come forward. Kyle, yes, please give an update on where we are with some of our facility projects. Let's know that you've got a speaking with.
Preschool renovation, the board office renovation, those drawings. We had a little run in with Katie on some HVAC. They had some of the work into the preschool as part of the performance contract. Katie was not going to allow that to happen. They want that portion of work for the project all under the and so we had to go back to the drawing boards and get in the mechanical engineers to add that sort of work for the design documents. That's good about those drawings approved, and then allowing him to proceed with collecting the bids. So that's where we are on those. We're going to follow the central office, right? We're going to push them both at the same time. Yeah. So both projects will be bid at the same time. So we're about 2 drawings being completed, reaching those numbers for their final approval.
So, bond sale occurred in the years like.
We're probably got to advertise for 21 days. They're taking it 3 times, just say, we got to add the 1 year approved. So help me out, Tommy. We're probably looking at, if we're now at September bid, and then tack on. Hopefully no more than 4 weeks after that. So probably come down to the first. And the view is like while we're starting construction. I went a lot of interior work, both these projects. So yeah, It won't bother on a normal production week, probably.
Okay, thank you. I'm
The only thing I'd add in regard to bidding those projects, I think that benefits standpoint of our costs. Will allow bidders to combine those projects, so that will make the projects a little larger, maybe a little more enticing to some of the time. We'll have to plan different BG numbers, so we'll have to track each of those separately. I think there's one thing on the agenda tonight, the approval of a test well, geothermal, and we do need to get that done as soon as we can. The design of the central office is contingent upon us getting that test results back from that test well. So I think that's the only agenda item that I have anything to do with.
Will that be a T&D drilling?
Yes, sir, it will.
And when do you think that will be completed before the next?
Within 2 weeks.
Very good. Anything else?
Questions or anything?
Questions, board members?
Did I hear Kyle, you say we're pulling the HVAC out of the?
It's not the entire HVAC. There was HVAC in the project already, but it was for the portion of work that we were going to be remodeling. The remainder of the HVAC was going to be done under a different contract.
Under that guarantee?
Yes,
Okay.
and they're just not going to allow it. So we're going back and we're putting all of that under the bid project under Alliance. So when those bids come in, they will be higher than what we had on the initial BG1, but we'll just have to reflect that add once we get the bids in and we do our revised BG1, we approve the bids.
Was that because we had no prior to go off of the energy savings?
That was one of Katie's big things, was that there was no baseline. There was no baseline data to be able to put towards it. They were just real adamant on that. That it was for the best interest of these projects that are moving forward to abide by their guidance on that. It should not create any problem. It's an obvious explanation of why the cost has gone up. So we just have to write a letter to KDE explaining why there was a difference in our BG3 numbers and the final bid numbers. But like I say, here it's something they demanded of us, so they should understand that. And I look for that to increase interest into that project because we've now increased that scope, so that big package now becomes more appealing. Anything else?
Thank y'all for being here with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, safe travels. Next item that I would like to address is the guaranteed energy savings contract we approved some time ago to work with train into the design, the scope of the work that's going to basically impact all our school buildings in the district. I think Ernie is here. I'm not sure. It's a little bit dark. Fraser, you here? Ernie and Mr. Fraser, if y'all will come up and we'll let you sort of tag team and speak with the board about the BG1, the contract, and the purchase orders. There's 3 items that the board will be asked to take action on tonight with the training regarding the guaranteed energy savings contract.
First, I want to, I'm Ernie Kogi. I want to thank you, Ms. Matthews and board for allowing us to be here tonight and speak about the project. So a quick update, we have a final contract to move forward with the project. The final cost has come in, it's lower than what we initially thought. And we have the paperwork ready to move forward. We're excited about it. We can do a lot of things for the district in terms of improving your HVAC in several of your schools. You know, in those schools in particular, it's going to improve air quality, which I know is an important issue these days. So, as well as lighting. So we're excited about it. And this is another way to help use savings to help fund the project versus all bonding. And so to move forward with the project, there's a few things that need to be approved. And once you approve that, we'd send out those documents off to the state for their approval. And then once it gets through that process and financing for the bond issue, then we can start work. And I'll be happy to take any questions. And there's 3 items that need to be approved that we would need to get to move forward with the project.
Need approval of the revised BG1 again, which is for the change of the scope of work and the savings that Ernie spoke of, the guaranteed energy contract for the work, and then purchase orders at the Barren County High School, North Jackson, Trojan Academy, JROTC, and then Hershaw Train Equipment. And the reason you see the purchase orders is because we're buying those direct as a district and saving, I think, around 6% by doing that.
All right, so in a nutshell, for the members of the board, kind of give us the overall, even for the benefit of the audience, what's going to happen with this work and when will it begin?
Okay. In terms of the major things that's going to occur with this project, we do an HVAC renovation at the high school, and then Trojan Academy, North Jackson, and then the ROTC building. So you'd get basically new units, new temperature controls, so you'd have a better ability for energy management, monitoring the building, and also new equipment to handle the comfort. You'll have new lighting throughout the district. For the most part, it'll be where you haven't changed out your LED lighting. We're going to put the LED for new LED technologies, and that'll be the interior and the exterior. There's going to be some other minor things in the project that's going to help fund the project in terms of energy conservation measures. And I can speak more to that, but I'll go back to the high school. We'll have pretty much a pretty good renovation project going on at the high school, because in the 1963 wing, I believe it's 63, that you'll get new windows there. I believe they're single pane.
Probably 73, but we're with you.
73. Is it, Greg? What section are we doing the windows? Of the high school?
Yes, core 1973 area, there's 24 windows.
Okay. Okay, those will get replaced. Working with RPS on that. Upgrade your sprinklers and fire alarm, and then you'll get new ceilings and a good chunk of your building. So it'll be a good makeover at the high school. Be noticeable. And that's kind of an overview.
Okay.
And the project is $14.2 million. Last we talked, we had around $15 million or so budgeted, but it came down lower than expected.
So of the $14 million price tag, we have a portion of that's going to be restricted funds, which is about what, 7.2,
Right.
7.4?
I believe the restricted funds, which is your bonding, for the $14 million, I'll say $6.7 million will be funded from your bonding, and then the $7 million or so will be funded from savings, a little bit over 7.
So when people hear that, they hear, "Oh, you're gonna pay for this through savings instead of making repairs to older equipment. We're gonna save money and route that towards paying for the new equipment." Correct?
Exactly.
Any questions, board members?
So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down tonight.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
The next item that I wanted to address on the board agenda for my report is number 8, approve emergency leave. Joe Murray, wave at me if you're in here. Joe assisted the board with approving our use of emergency leave for staff members back in the spring when we were permitted to, when the outbreak of the virus occurred. That has now been made available as an option for the board. And I will also recommend the board take action to allow us to have that available to us for those staff member needs when they arise. Joe, anything to add about that?
No, you covered it well. Just the same thing we did last year. They approved it, so that would be the option for our board.
It's not a forever option, it's an annual option. That's why it showed back up again. It did expire, it's back for you to take advantage of it. Any questions about that? If not, the last thing that I had tonight to discuss, which probably garners most of everyone's attention. I appreciate you coming tonight and being open-minded and being passionate about your perspective on the whole situation. I can tell you that in my career, this has probably been one of the top 3 most difficult situations to find myself to prepare a recommendation for a board. So I want to talk a little bit about number 14, the reopening plan for the 2020-2021 school year, and kind of how did I conclude, or how did I come to a recommendation to give to the board? So as you can imagine, there are valid and compelling arguments on both sides of this issue. I have struggled with what course of action is best. I have found myself spending time understanding the mental health implications of not being in school for our students and staff. I've been made aware of numbers of, unfortunately, neglect, childcare issues that exist because of the pandemic. I'm certainly aware of staff member safety, their families, those that they care for, our students that are, in some respects, possibly mentally, but certainly physically fragile. And all of those big topics have been considered, and nothing has been taken lightly. We surveyed our staff and the community. I've shared those results with the board members. They have access and been able to read comments. And the overwhelming majority of those are supremely professional, which I appreciate. I can tell you that the survey results from both groups were really split. Our teachers feel like it's in our best interest to follow the governor's recommendation of delaying a month. Somewhere around 54% of those that completed the survey. On the converse, among our parents and community members, it mirrors really the same number. Somewhere around 55% want us to implement our plan to offer 3 choices for parents to continue educating their child in the Barren County school system. I have read the comments that were shared with me. I did want to address a couple of those, as factually and as professionally and personally as I can. Some have commented that the only reason that I may recommend in-person school start with a virtual learning option, with an online option through Babbel, is rooted in finances. We have already been promised by the legislature and the Department of Education that the Barren County School District will be funded in 2018-2019 levels. Whether we're in person, whether we're virtual, whether we're battling. That's not a primary motive. I've listened to the position of the American Academy of Pediatricians and Psychologists, and their view the need for us to attempt, if it can be done safely, get back to in-person learning. But I've had, in some ways, a tipping point. I've had some personal experiences where single parents of multiple children have asked me to open school when we can. I've had grandparents of special needs, grandchild in their care, ask us to get her back in school because there are services that she needs that are only accessible at school. I've had two parent homes that have both parents working and say they can't be their child's teacher to keep their jobs. I've had some teachers communicate to me, if I could just have them for 2 weeks, I can get them off to a head start. I've had principals who have said to me that their staff want to go. Obviously, it's not 100%. And our board shares the position that in-person learning is what is best for the majority of our students if we can safely follow and monitor our opening plan. Another reality is there is a real chance that we will go virtual. I personally feel we have a window of opportunity now to connect with our students. It is projected and has been reported in multiple sources that along with the pandemic, we're poised to have a severe cold and flu season. It's a near certainty, in my opinion, that late fall or in winter months, illness will diminish our ability to have in-person learning. I contend the virus will be among us August the 24th. I contend the virus will be among us September 28th, and even November 3rd or after. Opening on August 24th allows us to seize the opportunity to connect with children while the risk is low. For the majority of our students and teachers, nothing can replace being in the classroom together. It's important to have students in person in order to establish relationships. That is also vital to the learning process. In the end, the harm of not having students in school, some would argue, exceeds the health risk of having them in person, given the low rates of positive cases. Barren County has been 1% or below for several months. I realize people travel. They do not all live in Barren County. Some travel great distances. And I know that is also a fact. We have worked with the health department, teachers, parents, and administrators to develop a plan the past 3 months that follow CDC guidelines and allow us to open safely. Based on what I've already said to you, it probably will not surprise you. And we do have people that have signed up and are asking for an opportunity to speak to the board tonight, which you will have that opportunity in this meeting. But it's my recommendation that we open school on August 24th with our original plan of offering option 1 for in-person classes, Option 2, for virtual learning for 9 weeks at our elementary schools and 1 semester for middle and high school students. Or option 3, paddle. If parents want to make changes to their original choice, they will have that option. I've shared these thoughts directly with the Commissioner of Education, the Chair of the State Board of Education, Dr. Foster, and Dr. White, who are both state health officials this afternoon. Our local board members feel that the governor's use of the verbiage, strong recommendation, means that they still have a choice at the local level to make. That could be semantics. There's a lot of things part of things that are said that have to be sorted out. It is true that the governor may draft an executive order to close Barren County schools. That will indeed require us to comply, which we will. The Commissioner of Education, along with the State Board of Education, to take action to close Barren County schools. That will indeed require us to comply, which we will. The local health department could take actions to close Barren County schools that would require us to comply, which we will. Tonight, I've been asked to make a recommendation that benefits the majority of the students in our district, which I have prayerfully done. It is my hope and prayer that no one is harmed in any way based on the recommendation that I have been asked to make. Vice Chair Gross, members of the board, that will complete my comments regarding the agenda and my position for the recommendation which was requested. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Matthews. We will give further discussion when we get through our voting process and after we have heard from the folks that still want to speak. We're going to continue with our meeting at this moment and go ahead and get our director reports for the evening, beginning with Ms. Courtney Cruz.
Thank you, Chairperson Gross. I have 3 items for the board tonight. A request for approval of the Certified Evaluation Appeals Panel to be Mr. Anthony Fraser. Approved alternate Certified Evaluation Appeals Panel, Scott Harper and Kathy Burris. And finally, approval of the Title IX coordinators to be Anthony Fraser and Cynthia Moore. That's all the items I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. Does anyone have a question? All right, moving on to Mr. Scott Harper.
Thank you, Ms. Gross. I'll just stop right here. Just one action item tonight. It's just our annual review of the security measures that the state board asks us to review annually for all of our networking services. So much like you hear every August, the only update to that are a couple new services provided by the state. They did purchase and implement Lightspeed Relay, which will allow us to better filter our Chrome devices upon deployment. And so that is in there as well. We will go through, as I informed you last spring, we were in the process of a password change as required by the state, and that was delayed due to our closure. And so that will continue this fall, and we will implement that at our earliest possible convenience. Just some other FYI items for you. We did process about almost 1,100 devices over the last few weeks. To deploy to our schools. The schools have those or in the process of receiving those to be able to loan those out on a limited basis for families who might need those for any distance learning. Proud of the guys for doing that. Our crew's been training, our instructional staff and our technology staff training and working through nearly every day some sort of professional learning to prepare for that. And one great metric for that We now have 140 Google certified educators, teachers, administrators, and instructional assistants who completed that process through that. And so those are the two items there. You do have both of those in your folder, and that's all I have unless you have questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Harper?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harper. Moving on, Ms. Kathy Burris.
Thank you, Chairperson. The only action item I have for the evening is an additional kindergarten early entry. We did have one other person apply, they did qualify, so that is a Red Cross student. But that's the only action item for the evening. The FYIs include an FYI on SBBM notice that you all get annually in your folder. Also, our professional learning has wrapped up for the summer, if you can call it that, continues at each school depending on school needs. And our elementary strings teachers, another FYI, are going to be offering strings class at the elementary schools virtually, and they're going to be opening that up to all fourth graders this year. So hoping to not lose any ground there because of the virtual, but to gain. So that's all I have for the board tonight.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Cynthia York.
Thank you, Chairperson Gross. I just have two approval items tonight. One is that is the approval of our chairperson list and the 504 committee chairperson list. We have to have that approved annually for those persons to be able to chair meetings for our students and their families. And the other approval item is a Head Start full utilization contract. We do collaborate with Head Start every year to provide services not only in their buildings, but in our buildings as well. And so I'm asking for your approval of that tonight. And in regards to FYIs, we have just this week met, continue to meet with our speech therapists, our occupational therapists, our preschool teachers, and our ECE teachers with ongoing training and technology and strategies. Any questions for me tonight?
Questions? Thank you, Ms. York. Ms. Cheyenne Tennant.
Thank you. I have one consent item tonight, and that's the approval of our SOPs and our Middle County and claiming procedures, and that is something that we do every year. Of course, we've had to change some procedures with waivers that have been allowed through the state of Kentucky and through the National Lunch and Breakfast Program. So those are all listed in there, and I'm requesting your approval on that item. And then we also have a couple of FYIs in case you're looking for those menu and emergency plans for meals in case of an emergency shutdown of school or meal delivery systems in that area. And then we also have plans for after school, and we're very proud to report that since March of this year, we've served over 2.2 million meals in BC Region. And that's all I have unless you all have questions.
Cheyenne, would you care to, do you have that plan in place for your meal delivery yet?
We have a plan in place. We're waiting on some supplies, but we have plans in place for in-person classroom delivery for all of our school meals, and that we would do on a green or yellow tier level. On a red tier level, we would do home meal delivery service, and we will be putting out a survey to parents. The way you sign up for that meal is different because we're switching from summer feeding programs to the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program. So it will be tied, whereas summer feeding is open to everyone who is 18 and under, which would include, very young children who are enrolled in school. This will only be tied to Barren County Schools enrollment. So it's for people for meals. So that's a little bit different, and parents will have the opportunity to sign up for that. If you're going virtual, you'll have the opportunity for meal delivery, and there will be a Google Doc that's set up and hopefully released by Monday.
Thank you very much. Mr. Anthony Burchell.
Thank you. I have one consent item, that is the approval of quote for the geothermal well. I have 6 action items. The approval of the BG1, the revised guaranteed energy savings contract, the approved contract for the energy savings contract, and the approval of the purchase orders. Also have a asking for approval for our annual, the non-resident contracts and the master schedules for 10 and 13. And then approval to reconvene the local planning committee to discuss two findings from KD. Any questions?
Any questions? No?
Thank you.
We're good, thank you. Mhm. Mr. Boterry.
I don't have any action. I don't just say that, we're working, getting ready, and, in fact, I went and bought, $200 some worth of, double A batteries today to put in thermometers that we're gonna have with our bus drivers. We'll have each bus driver will have that. Mr. Mathis graciously allowed me to, purchase some, dispensers, that operate on the batteries that they don't have to pump, and it sprays instead of a gel or like that. So the child can, reach that as they get on the bus. Before they get on the bus, actually, the older kids will. The younger ones can step up on the first step and put their hands under it, get sanitized, and then going up to the bus driver to get their temperature checked.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Any questions? No, Mr. Joe Murray.
Thank you. Don't hear me. I think I have 6 items tonight. I'm going to start with the unaudited AFR, just some highlights over that. This is, of course, unaudited, so it may change when we go through the audit. We'll present the audited AFR at the November meeting. But start with the general fund. We received about $31 million revenue through the bank account. And of that revenue, 65% was through the state in seek money. 35% was local for taxpayers for the most part. Let's keep track of that. And the fund balance increased to $4.329 million, which there were a couple things, a few things really that happened last year that contributed to that. Selling private property was one of them. The food service fund, we took indirect. They had a good year, indirectly helped the general fund out. Those were some items. On the flip side, our interest earned, which we don't really control, it's just what the best treasury rate said, it decreased, so our interest dropped by a substantial amount, about 90 grand. Our motor vehicle tax was down 165 grand, and I think that may be delayed. We're still collecting that, so I think that may go up out of the audit. Okay. Overall, these numbers aren't final, but I think we're close to there. Moving on to Fund 2, collected $6.532 million. Of that, 55% was through federal funds, and then 36% was state. These are kind of our grants that fund is. For this upcoming year, the CARES Act money, which for safety for COVID and online technology, we got $1.4 million there that we're still started spending last year, still spending on. There's a daycare amount, and then the FEMA one, we're not really sure with yet, but we were approved to apply for it. So you see those on the horizon this year. Construction fund, of course, we're gearing up for Trojan Way Preschool, the Trojan Way, the Ford property, and then, of course, this energy projects. You see those, I think this year, spending on those. And then the food service fund, collected $5.643 million from the feds this year, which is a great year. Financially speaking. Any questions there? Okay. Next item, just question approval on fall fundraisers. And we'll do another one, probably another one in September. First batch. The next item I have requesting your approval for budget amendment and salary schedule adjustments. Mr. Matthews talked about on this item, the emergency leave, just doing what we did last year, I think would be really good for employees, just offers us flexibility, how we go about using it. I think we've already discussed this other item, the BG1 20-241 GSC proposal, requesting your approval on that. And then my final item is the month-to-date reports for July. Just a couple of highlights there. Next month, we'll talk about the working budget. We haven't set that up yet, so I'm not going to talk about budget numbers. We're going to ask approval on those. So for Fund 1, we received $1.877 million for revenue, spent $987,000 in expenses. For Fund 2, received $584,000 revenue expended, $357,000 in expenses. In Fund 51, received $873,000 revenue and expended $361,000 in expenses. That's all I have. Any questions?
Questions, anyone?
Thank you.
Thank you. That will conclude our director's reports at this time. Unless anyone has a question for any of them, we'll move on. Yeah. I'm going to ask Ms. Courtney Cruz to come and take charge and let anyone that wants to speak.
Chairperson, we have 6 folks that have signed up to address the board tonight. Each one will be given 5 minutes. If you've been debated before and you've done the speech contest, you know at the last minute that if someone stands, that'll be me. They'll let you know you're into your last minute. We'll go in order the way you signed up. So first to address the board is Kelly Bauer.
Thank you all for giving us the opportunity to speak tonight. I sincerely appreciate that, and I appreciate your remarks, Mr. Matthews, and I know that the job in front of all of us is quite great, and at times feels really impossible, and I have not envied your decision that you've had to make, or that you will make tonight. I have spoken to a lot of people over the past 24 hours, and I have not been given permission to use all of their personal stories, but I did feel like staff stories, personal stories, were kind of left out of the remarks. And Mr. Todd Steenbergen did give me permission to read from the email that he did share with you all. So I'm just going to read one paragraph from that to start. I am fully supportive of the governor's decision to delay in-person learning. Yes, I am disappointed because I would like to start the school year in a normal way, but I'm constantly having to attend to my parents. Dad has Parkinson's, just started hospice, and he and Mom need help with certain things. On Monday night, I spent 2 hours with them wearing my mask since I felt I might have been exposed to the virus through interactions at school. My wife attends to her mother's needs in assisted living. We have not yet gone back to in-person church and small group meetings yet, choosing online. We relied on pickup delivery as much as possible. As I look at the statistics regarding COVID-19, I feel that I need to take every precaution that I can. I'll move to what I had planned to say specifically tonight. If you know me, you know that I'm a graduate of Barren County High School. I graduated in 1991. I plan on retiring from this district not really too many years from now. And I am BC through and through. I've lived in this community my entire life. My entire family has lived in this community, and most of my family have been educators in this district. So my loyalty and my love for this district is never something that should be questioned. With that said, let me tell you why I came tonight. I came tonight because for the past 24 hours since we learned, and I say we as a collective group of educators, that the board is actually considering ignoring the governor's recommendation. I have been on the phone or I've talked in person to countless staff and community members who are worried about starting school in person. They worry that the numbers are too high in our community. As recently as yesterday, Barren County was put in red by the White House Coronavirus Task Force, meaning we are in a danger zone for the virus to get out of control. That alone should supersede any desire for in-person instruction for the immediate future. But for some reason, the voices of dissent to the governor's recommendation have only gotten louder. I'm here tonight to be a voice for those who choose not to fight these battles on social media. I'm here tonight to be a voice for those who have been told to hush when they have spoken words of frustration, worry, and anxiety about reopening schools to in-person instruction. The general public, and maybe some of you, do not fully realize what hurdles still exist for in-person instruction to remotely work. Let me begin with our staffing situation. I have mentioned the probability of our community's virus environment being too volatile. What about the daily workings in the building? Our sublist has dwindled substantially. On a good day, with normal life absences, we often need help covering classes of absent teachers. Can you imagine the exponential growth of staff absences with COVID? Who is actually left to teach the in-person instruction at that point? Another hurdle. Students are not to be gathering together and hanging out during school to promote social distancing. Teachers are instructed to monitor that behavior in the classroom and in the hallways, rightly so. But teachers have also been given the sanitization instructions that must occur between each class period. Again, rightly so. I must spray 2 squirts of sanitizer on all desks. That must have 2 minutes to dry. Then as students file into my room, I must spray their hands with a different disinfectant. This all occurs while students are in the hallway, waiting on these necessary procedures to occur. Can we trust that they will stand apart? Who knows? Most staff will be occupied within the classrooms. Specifically, there are 4 classrooms within close proximity to my classroom. On average, that will be anywhere between 80 to 100 students waiting outside my door to enter their rooms in about a 25-yard space. Can you imagine how much space they would need to stay socially distant? And who is in the hall to ensure that happens? This is just one snapshot of one hallway at the high school. I have a whole list of things here. I see that Ms. Cruz has stood up. There are questions that are important to be answered. What will testing look like for our faculty and staff? Will we have quick, rapid, and frequent availability for testing for staff? What's being done for the elderly staff population of our building? Who is going to replace us when we go on quarantine by school, by class, or by district? Do you want your children or grandchildren to be taught in person school by a substitute? Or maybe not even a substitute, just someone who is filling the space of your teacher because they are in quarantine. And while I'm on the point, let me be clear in saying a good or bad teacher is not quantified by whether or not they want to go back in school in person on August 24th. I'm a good teacher, and I want to teach my students in any way that I can, the best way that I can. I hope you'll take that into consideration. I really wish you would reconsider your position. I think that's what's best for everyone that's going to show up on the 24th, whether it's in person or virtually. Thank you.
Oh, sorry about that.
It is bad.
Next to the podium, please, is Autumn Chambers.
I also want to start off with saying thank you guys for allowing the public to come in and speak on behalf of how they feel and everything. That's really important for us to show our children that there's a choice, and this is a democracy, and we can vote on things that we feel passionate about. I also want to reiterate the same things that she said about living in this county, being a part of this county. I'm an alumni as well in Barren County. I got my t-shirt on, you know. My family grew up here. My family that's taught here. I believe in this county, and I believe in the public school system when it is, going and teaching these kids. I also know that Kentucky is the #1 in the nation for neglect and abuse with children, and that doesn't sit well with me. I live, my little girl will be in kindergarten. We're just starting this school thing out. She was in preschool at Temple Hill this past year and had a wonderful experience, loved school. And she has friends and everything that do the same way, same thing. I'm not here that concerned about her. I'm not. I'm here concerned about those other kids who don't have a voice, who are at home without parents, or in foster care with poor care, or not with care at all? Where are they being sent? What's happening to them when they're not there here at school? Who's monitoring how they feel? What's happening to them? I mean, I feel like I've even heard, not statistics, but the questions of if we're going back virtual or at home, you have your choice. You ask the parents their choice. Well, you know, we haven't even been able to get a hold of every single kid and see what they're doing. Whether that be the parents, you know, lack of communication, or that you can't track down a child. Who is making that interaction with that child every day just to see if they're all right? You know, even elementary school age up until high school, and all of the stuff that we deal with, you know, the bullying, the social media, the this and the that, and now we want to just put them all into virtual, even when right now, just like Superintendent both said, that we can, you know, start that relationship with them right now. September, it's only going to get worse. Those numbers are only going to be higher, more than likely, if we even wait till then. That's his recommendation, you know, Governor Bashir's to recommend to start then, but we all know that won't happen. That's when flu and cold season is at the highest. I mean, I think these kids need to start with their best interest, and that is them in school, making those relationships. The school district is going to do every possible thing they can to keep them safe while they're in this building. And I completely trust in that. And to keep their teachers safe as well. I have many friends who are teachers, many family that are teachers too. And they also believe that those things will be taken to the most extent, just as most extent as you can while you're at Walmart or while you're at Rural King or what you're doing there. These places, the kids are going to be going somewhere else no matter what. And I know y'all heard all these things and thought about all of these things. And this is nothing new to you guys. I just wanted to come here today to make sure that the voices of those children are in your mind. And I love our teachers, and I'm so thankful for them for standing up and for coming to school and teaching our children, because that's what we need. I'm not a teacher. I'm not. You know, and I'm so thankful for the hard work that they put in and everything, but I still think it is in their best interest, and I just wanted to make sure I portray that for the people who can't be here for whatever reason, or the children who don't have a voice that are going to be so behind, you know, whenever we don't get them back into the school building. That's what it was here for. It's a public school. These families have a choice, virtual or in person. And I think our numbers are so low in this county. It's not even close to being somewhere where we should say automatically virtual. You know, I have family in Tennessee. Their numbers are way higher. They're doing it. They're going for it, and their kids are being educated. Do we want to educate these children, or do we want to have them stare at a screen forever, even starting off? Let's do what we can now to make sure we start those relationships with them. Thank you guys so much.
Next to speak, we have Patrick Downs.
Thank you.
I certainly won't be as eloquent or as well spoken as the two people before. First of all, thank you, Mr. Matthews. I know a lot of prayer, a lot of yearning went into this. Thought, thank you to the board that for even allowing everybody to come here. I would thank you to all the staff and the teachers for all the hard work. I mean, y'all worked like Hebrew slaves over the last couple of months to prepare for our kids. So in saying that, the reason I'm standing here today is I'm involved with the Boys and Girls Club. Nobody knows what this is going to look like when we go back, but we've been doing this since June the 10th, I think. Every day it's been different. It was scary. I'll tell you a story that changed my mind was Mally, Boston runs the Boys and Girls Club, and a few days we were kicking it around, not like y'all are, and a little girl rode her bicycle over to Mally's house, and she said, Miss Mally, she said, I haven't had anything to eat for 3 days, and she said, I don't know where else to go. So with all the thing that we're doing, reading feeds and Glasgow's doing, there's still kids falling through the cracks. And as you said, ma'am, there's kids that they need y'all here. And they're waiting, they don't have an option. my kids are gonna be fine, no matter what you decide. But there's a lot of kids that are not. And I only stand here to fight and stand for the kids that don't have anything. So whatever y'all decide, I think it's more important that we come together as a community, good or bad. It's, you decide one way or the other, the board's not bad, the staff's not bad, the teacher's not bad. We got great representation of Barren County. I wish I could say I got a graduate, that I was a graduate, but I got a daughter here, I got a son in Glasgow. So I'm just here for kids. But I appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to at least voice. That's more than most people get. That's more than most school districts have given their parents, teachers, kids. So for that, I say thank you. I've been praying for y'all. I do pray for y'all, and we'll support you in whatever direction that y'all go. I will tell you this, that Mally told me to tell you that whatever way it goes, if there's kids, there will be kids that are virtual. And our staff at the Boys and Girls Club would be glad to take 2 or 3 of them to check on them, whatever we can do to help facilitate for the betterment of the kids. But I just appreciate having the choice as a parent that I can either send my child, which I will, or if I didn't feel comfortable, they could do it at home. So, thank you. Courtney, you said I had 42 seconds. You gave me longer than that. So.
2 minutes?
Thank you, Mrs. Vaughn.
The shortest I've ever seen you. Josh Harmon is next.
For y'all that don't know me, I'm Josh Harden. I work in the insurance industry here in Barren County. We've lived here 85 months now. Moved here from Madera County, but Mr. Matthews done an awesome job of leading the school district. I'm gonna stick to my script or I'm gonna get off to you, okay? First of all, I want to thank Mr. Matthews, the board, and the school administrators for allowing me to speak. I work, as I said, in the insurance industry. I also serve as a board member and secretary for Cumberland Family Medical, the organization which provides Barren County schools, among other districts in the area, for healthcare and dental services. Tonight, I'm not speaking on behalf of either of the entities that I talked about. I'm speaking as a concerned parent that has 3 kids that attend the school in the Barren County School District. I feel it is necessary to allow in-person option for the families of our district. Here's why. In my line of work, I come in contact with homes in several different situations while doing inspections during the pandemic. I've encountered some of the saddest situations I have ever seen. Several children in homes show signs of neglect and abuse. Some have been removed from the homes that I know of personally. If I were allowed to share specifics and pictures of these situations, it would bring you all to tears. Your kids matter, my kids matter, all the kids in our community matter. Unfortunately, there are kids in our district that have less than desirable conditions at home. By allowing in-person instruction, our schools can help in identifying situations like I mentioned, whether it be drugs, neglect, or other abuse. The board has already put an effective plan in place that allows parents to choose their desired route for their children's education during this COVID pandemic. Yes, parents do have a choice with this plan. If your family feels your student does not need to return to in-person learning, there's a virtual option. We as parents, leaders, board members, school administrators need to make decisions for them to enjoy while not leaving anyone behind. By keeping our kids out of school, we're hindering their education as well as their social and emotional development. I appreciate the teachers and the job they do. A public education is so much more than academics. It helps develop mental soundness, communication skills, problem-solving techniques, as well as helping monitor proper medical care and abuse. A safe learning environment ensures that kids in our community have their daily needs met during the school day. My belief is we are going to have so many students that will need to repeat grades or need intervention for gaps because of not receiving the personal instruction our amazing teachers provide on a daily basis. We as a society are allowed to go to several public venues, Little League sporting events, retail stores, water parks, just to name a few. Please consider allowing our kids the option to return to in-person learning in school. In closing, I feel like the problems we are creating creating by not providing an adequate education have lasting effects that are far worse than effects of the corona pandemic. Allow our kids to pursue the American dream. Allow our kids to rise above the home lives that are exposed to daily, because for many, school is the only safe spot they have. I know this decision is not going to be easy, but I trust the Barren County School Board will make the choice they feel best for our community, most importantly, for those kids. Thanks again for allowing me to express my opinion. I want you to know I'll support the board in any way that I can, whatever decision you make, anything that Cumberland Family Medical can do to help you guys with anything you need, I promise you will do it. So anything that you can do or that I can do on behalf of my kids and so many other kids that I've encountered, just real quick, there was 4 kids stuck out of my home last week that I know personally that it was just a bad situation. So that's all I have to say. Thank you again for letting me speak, and thank you all for the tough job that you have. I've been in your position before, so thank you.
Next, we have Amanda Ringerhoff.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
Is off, Jones, and smile. Thank you guys for allowing me to stand up here and speak to you guys tonight. I'm gonna do my best not to cry. I'm a mother of 3 children here at Barren County. I too am an alumni of Barren County. I have a senior, a freshman, and a 2nd grader at this school. While this pandemic has caused a multitude of problems in this world, I can only speak for the problems they have caused my family personally. The first problem is the mental state of my children. My daughter, who is 8 years old, is going to be in 2nd grade this year, and she has been in a state of emotional depression since this pandemic has caused her to be at home. I have dried her tears. I have tried the best that I can do to explain that this is not going to last forever. And I try to do my best as a mother to keep a positive attitude while our country is on a lockdown. My oldest son, who is a senior this year, who doesn't speak to me a lot, has told me that he hopes that he gets to go to school because it can be challenging to be in a virtual learning situation as he did in the spring. And my son is a magnet student. He is very brilliant, and it was challenging for him to virtually learn this spring. The second problem my family faces is childcare. While my husband and I work full-time jobs, it has been a challenge to get this taken care of this past spring. And I'm sure I'm not the only parent who has faced this problem. The third problem we face as a family is that my job will not allow me to be off for extended periods of time. So what do I choose? Do I choose the financial stability? Or do I choose to be a guidance counselor? Because I am no teacher. All I can do is sit and help her virtually learn. The worry of the what ifs, I believe, are outweighed by the problems that are occurring right now. I'd like for the board to take these into consideration when making these very difficult decisions. And I pray that you make the best decision not only for my children, but the rest of the children in this county. Thank you.
Thank you. Lastly, Jamie Bird.
Thank you, Amanda.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything. Dad told me to keep my mouth shut. But I will say I'm so proud of Barren County. thank you so much to Bo Matthews and to the board for giving these kids the opportunity and the choice to parents. I just want to say how proud I am of Barren County. And literally, there's nothing else to say because of what you said earlier. Kudos to all of you all, how much time you put into this. This has probably kept you up at night, it's kept me up at night. I'm not even having to deal with all the pressure that you all are. But I came here tonight to support whatever decision you all made, and I'm so proud of Barren County. And I have 4 kids that are ready to go. I understand as a parent, we are taking a risk, but I understand I'm taking that risk as a parent. And all my 4 kids will be there when the day starts. And I'm so proud of Barren County, and I just want you all to thank you all for all the time you put into this. Because my family appreciates it. My kids were fine if we went, if we didn't go, but I've never heard them so much ask about going back to school. So I guess maybe this break has not been terrible because everyone is so ready to go to school, kid-wise. And I understand the teacher situation. I myself have signed up to sub. I'll try to get anybody around me that's available to sub. I don't know if you want Jenny Bewley, but I would definitely be ready to sub when you need to sub. So, thank you all.
Chairperson Groves, that concludes everyone that signed up to speak.
Thank you, Jen. At the conclusion, we will just go ahead and jump into our motions. And then when we get to that motion, if our board members have to address that, then we can. So we are ready to look at our consent items. Does anyone need to break any of the consent items out to be on? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent items? Second. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Tammy. Any discussion of those? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to our action items. Do I have a motion to approve the revised BG1, which is the Guaranteed Energy Management Project that we spoke about earlier?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Joey.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Is there any discussion to be had on this motion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion that we approve the following contract, the Guaranteed Energy Saving Contract pursuant to KRS 45A.352? Thank you, Tammy.
Second.
Thank you, Joey. Do anyone need to speak to this motion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
And all opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the following purchase orders for the Guaranteed Energy Savings Contract, which includes the train equipment at Barren County High School, the train equipment at North Jackson Elementary School, train equipment at Treasury Academy, train equipment at JROTC building, and the Harshaw train equipment in multiple buildings? Thank you, Mike. Second. Thank you, Tammy. Does anybody need to speak to the motion? If not, all in favor? Aye. And all opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion to authorize the superintendent during the 2020-2021 school year to grant paid emergency leave to any full-time or part-time employee upon the superintendent making a determination that emergency leave is necessary for that employee due to emergency. The board waives any requirement for an employee requesting paid emergency leave to file a personal affidavit in support of the leave, but the superintendent may require written documentation from the employee verifying the need for the leave. Thank you, Tammy.
Second.
Thank you, Joey. Anybody like to speak to the motion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve the reconvene of the local planning committee for 2 finding meetings. Thank you, Tammy.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone need to speak to the motion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion to approve the non-resident contracts for 2020, 2021.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone like to speak to the motion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve, review the district security measures? Thank you, Joey.
Second.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone would like to speak to the motion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve the unaudited annual financial report? Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Joey. Would you like to speak to the motion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve the master schedules that have been made for 2020, 2021? Thank you, Joey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone would like to speak to the motion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. And do we have a motion to approve the reopening plan for the 2020, 2021 school year?
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Joey. With a second, and would anyone like to speak to the motion?
I've been on this board for 25 years, about. And this is the toughest decision I've ever had to make. And I want everybody to know that it's been a thoughtful, prayerful decision. And it may be the wrong one, but I'm doing the best I can, and so is the rest of the board. And I'm sorry for getting emotional.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to say that I'm proud of the county I live in as well, proud of our district, proud of our administration and staff. Had a lot of calls, a lot of texts and support for either way. I have had a few that on both sides that I really refuse to even look at the other side, and I don't think that's what this is about. I don't think that there's real problems on both sides. We know that. I feel like we're making the best decision for our kids. It's not an eye problem, it's a we problem, but there are people out there that have some serious problems with going back as well. And somebody said, I don't know who it was, I think it was a man who said, he feels like the good outweighs the bad of what's actually going on right now. That aren't just possibilities, but they are actually having kids that are restoration. It's way on my heart for us as well. From an anxiety and depression standpoint, I feel like I have a young man at home who's always been very, very, very positive. My oldest son, and you can see it in everything he's ever tried to do. He looks to the good in everything. And when he heard that we were going back, the look on his face as well. And there's many others out there. And it's real depression, it's real anxiety. It's not an anxiety that's being politicized or trying to use to make this decision. It's real. I know what you're saying. And, but it's still a decision. I don't think those that struggle to come back just because they don't want to come back. I don't think that you think less of these children. I just want to say that as well.
Thank you, Mike. For myself, I want to join in with my fellow board members in saying, well, we've lost a lot of sleep. You know, we have lots of friends that are teachers that have legitimate concerns, and we don't take any of those lightly. This is not political for us whatsoever. Just as Mr. Matthews stated, if we're given a mandate that says we're shutting down, we're shutting down. We respect the office of the governor. With that being said, this was left as a recommendation, and our jobs are to listen to our whole community. That is our employees and our parents, and community members, and I believe that's what we try to do. I don't want to make this personal, but yeah, I work in healthcare. Those first 3 weeks, when our state got shut down, this was hard. And they're really hard for you, especially if you're a teacher. That fear is real, but we do learn to cope with it. And I would never for a moment think the decisions that we're making tonight, that you would think that we could put a lot of thought into the safety of everyone. I love her. And so that's my stance to her. Thank you all for coming, and I appreciate that, and we'll move on to our vote. We have a motion, and so all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. And at this time, do we have any further business that we need to address? If not, do I have a motion that we adjourn? Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Tammy. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Make sure. Quickly. So,